I'm making sunshine for the journey. I'm making sunshine for the journey. I'm making sunshine for the journey. And I am making it right now. Hey everybody, today we have a Sunshine for the Journey episode just for parents and others who care for young children. The Ready, Set, Go show has many episodes which have been created for young kids and the big people in their life. They are filled with stories, songs, interviews, and ideas for activities. Kids can listen on their own or with other family members. But I thought it would also be fun for adult listeners to hear from parents who have perspective on the early years with their own children. So I'm going to keep making episodes for kids, but we also have Making Sunshine for the Journey episodes, just for adults. It is very easy to get stressed out by situations at home, in our neighborhood, or the wider world. So this is a place for us to reflect on what went right, despite everything. Today we have Sayeda on the show. Hey, Sayeda.
Hey, Miss Katie.
So what did your kids love to do when they were young?
So when my kids were young, I have a son and a daughter. Their interests were very different. My daughter's interests mostly centered around reading. So she loved to read books, and I would try to spend some time with her reading books. Now, when it came to my son, he really enjoyed spending time building model kits and Legos. So that's kind of where he spent his time, and I would encourage him with that.
Perfect. Well, what did you love to do together?
So we had some very special moments, I think, doing things together in the garden. So we enjoyed gardening with flowering plants as well as with kitchen herbs and vegetables. We also enjoyed spending time in the kitchen, cooking small projects, and eventually we got into cooking larger items as well.
Can you tell us some of your earliest cooking memories with your kids?
I think one of the earliest cooking memories I have with my daughter when she was little revolves around a really fun kids cooking book that we had. And it had really glossy, colorful pictures. And we would sit there looking at all the pictures together and figuring out which recipe we might want to try on a Saturday morning. And then we would shop around it and bring things that we needed and plan for it. And we would make fun little cupcakes. I think the best one that she enjoyed was some of the cupcakes with little animals on it and sprinkles. So we would enjoy that.
That sounds fun. Did your son also like to cook when he was little?
So my son enjoyed cooking as well. And in fact, when he was in kindergarten, one of his teachers also encouraged that activity. And they made pumpkin bread at school. And so that really got him into it. And he brought home a recipe for pumpkin bread. And we made that together and he loved it.
How about gardening? Can you think of some of the early things you did with them when they were really little?
We loved gardening because it was such a fun activity outdoors. It allowed them the opportunity to get dirty in the dirt as well. After we planted, we had to wait a little bit, and just seeing the flowers blooming made them really happy. So we would go to the nursery and pick some flowers that they enjoyed planting at home. So we'd bring it back and plant them and then watch them grow. And it was a lot of fun.
Did they have certain flowers they liked best?
So I think that both of them had different flowers, but just anything colorful, such as impatiens and geraniums, and just easy growing plants. Now, I would also throw in some perennials in there. So perennials are plants that come back every year. We would plant some bulbs and some plants that came back every year. In fact, there's one particular memory I have that's special with my son. One spring, we decided to plant some daffodil bulbs. I went to one of the stores and brought a very large bag of daffodils. And I think it took us a couple of hours to plant all the daffodils in front of our house in the flower beds. Even to this day, we enjoy it because those daffodils get to come back every year. And each year when they come back in bloom, we wait for the flowers and it just takes us back to when we planted them. So it's just a fun thing.
One memory I have when my daughter was really young was that she loved to use a spray bottle to spray the flowers and mist them while I would go around with my hose. So she was helping out in that way. And I remember them also just helping water the plants with a hose too. And that was really fun.
That is really neat. And that reminds me that also that's something I would do growing up because my mom has a very major green thumb. And so she did a lot of gardening and I watched her do that growing up. And I was in charge of using the hose to water the plants. And so she would tell me how much time to spend at each different flower bed or vegetable bed to make sure the plants were watered just right.
Oh, that's so great. You had that experience. So do your kids still like to cook and garden now that they're older?
Absolutely. Just a few years ago, in fact, gardening was a very big part of our household during the pandemic, especially. Mm-hmm. And we had a very elaborate kitchen garden at that time, and we were able to plant things like tomatoes and green beans and okra, because okra is a favorite at home. So we had a garden that was complete with the kids participating in that. And so they would help water, they would help harvest some of these vegetables. And then, of course, when it's time for cooking, I always had eager helpers to help chop up the vegetables and prepare them as well.
I bet it's really fun for them to cook things that are straight from your own garden. Absolutely.
It makes it even more fun for them to eat. And there's never a dull moment trying to convince them to eat vegetables.
Right. That's for sure. So what are some of your cooking and gardening memories from childhood?
When I was younger, my mom would plant very easy to grow, but very useful things as well. So she would plant things such as spinach, which are very easy to grow and they're ready for harvesting very quickly as well. Our family is from Asia, and so we would be able to grow some of the vegetables that we may not find in other places. So she would plant them for us and we would enjoy having these things. And of course, cooking always was such a big part of me growing up because my mom loved to make not only nutritious food for us, but she loved indulging us in making desserts and pastries. And I was always eager to help her when it came to helping with desserts and pastries.
Oh, and I know you're still really good at making those, like lemon bars.
I still love it.
It's so great. Well, do you have any other ideas or advice for parents with young kids?
I think it's just whatever fits with your schedule at the time and with your kids at the time. Finding small little moments of doing an activity together gives children that special time with you. And it doesn't have to be perfect every time. It doesn't have to be cookbook perfect. When my kids were very little and if I had a busy weekend and I still wanted to get something in, we would just go to the store and grab us a packet for blueberry muffins or whatever it was and still do that together. And it took a lot less time, but it was still something that we got to do together and it was special time.
That sounds fun. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share?
Well, I just encourage everybody to get out there and enjoy the outdoors as well as the indoors with the kiddos so they have memories to look back to.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being here on the Ready, Set, Go show today, Sayeda.
Thank you, Miss Katie. I had a great time. Thank you for inviting me.
I'm making sunshine for the journey. I'm making sunshine for the journey. I'm making sunshine for the journey. And I am making it right now. And then I watch the news and think, well, where do I even begin? And then I think again, if not me, who? And if not now, when? If not me, who? And if not now, when? So I'm gonna put one foot in front of the other, one foot. I'm gonna put one foot in front of the other, one foot. I'm gonna put one foot in front of the other, one foot. Yes, and I'll be on my way. Yes, I'll be on my way.
How you gonna make sunshine?
I'm going to open my mind.
Open my mind.
Do what makes me smile inside. Then I'll share my smile with you. And like a wave, it will reach others too. I'm gonna put one foot in front of the other, one foot. I'm gonna put one foot in front of the other, one foot. I'm gonna put one foot in front of the other, 1 foot. Yes, and I'll be on my way. Yes, I'll be on my way. And I'm making sunshine for the journey. I'm making sunshine for the journey. I'm making sunshine for the journey. And I am making it right now. Say that again. Yes, I am making it right now. One more time. Yes, I am making it right now.
Sunshine.
The Ready, Set, Go show is part of the Possibilities podcast platform.